Hey guys, I'm HOJ, and in today's video, we're going to be doing 5 best of 1 standard ranked ladder matches with my updated Bant Airbend deck. If you haven't checked out the best of 1 standard event, there's going to be a link at the end of the video and also in the description. Also, the top pinned comment will be a link if you'd like to subscribe or become a member for 99 cents a month and help support the channel and get access to new videos with early access. So let's jump into the deck here. There's some of the main changes that I made. I wanted to kind of give it the Ouroboroid package. Again, if you're not familiar with the deck, there's going to be a link in the description for the standard event where I kind of went over sort of every individual card. But the main idea is to kind of give us the use of Airbender Ascension with a lot of creatures that have come into play effects. And so once this is up to 4 counters, then we can start bouncing creatures at the end of our turn. This updated version, we have essentially 12 mana accelerants. We've got 4 copies of Llanowar Elves, 4 copies of Great Divide Guide, and then 4 copies of Badgermole Cub. Which does also have the ability to Earthbend, and so we can bounce it in and out to help, continue Earthbend if we want. And then we have a bunch of creatures that kind of have nice enter the battlefield effects. We have 2 copies of Toby, Beastie, Befriender, which comes in and makes a 4/4 white beast creature token. With this token, can't attack or block alone. And then once we have 4 or more creature tokens we control have flying. 2 copies of Tishana's Tidebinder, just as sort of a nod to some of the other mono green decks. This is good to turn off like an opponent's Ouroboroid, or like their Crater Hoof when it comes in. Just gives us a lot of options. It's good against Jeskai artifacts and just Reanimator in general. And then a full playset of Sandstorm Salvager, which comes in and makes a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token, and then we can tap it and buff our creature tokens and give them trample until end of turn. 1 copy of Aang Swift Savior, just as kind of a catch-all sort of pseudo counter spell, kind of late game threat, and can also be used to airbend some of our stuff and then replay it. And then a full playset of Ouroboroid, just because this card is a silly magic card and it's really good right now, and just sort of create a huge army that grows every turn. 2 copies of the Earth King, which comes in and makes a 4/4 green bear creature token, and then whenever 1 or more creatures you control attack with power 4 or greater, you search your library for up to that many basic lands and put them on the battlefield tapped. And then 4 copies of Aang at the Crossroads, which is really fantastic. It comes in, and then you look at the top 5 cards of your library and put a creature card with mana value 4 or less onto the battlefield. And then whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, you transform Aang at the beginning of the next upkeep, and then he becomes a 4/4 flyer. And then land creatures have vigilance, and at the beginning of combat, Earthbend 2. So a nice endgame threat. So we also have 2 copies of Detect Intrusion, which I found is pretty nice against some of the control matchups. It can be used to counter target instant, sorcery spell, or triggered ability, and also has the in web alternate cost. So if we have a tapped creature, we can just pay single blue and return it, which is really nice with cards like Salvager or Beastie Befriender or Earth King, and we can just replay it and get another token, or Aang. And then for the mana, we have 23 land, and I sort of updated the mana quite a bit so that we now have access to everything which comes into play untapped, and then just kind of cleaned it up with some extra copies of like Hushwood and Floodfarm Verge, giving us access to 18 green sources on turn 1. And then I think it's about 12 or 14 for blue and white. And then we also have 2 copies of Cavern of Souls, which we can use to name plant for Ouroboroid, or we can use to name human, which hits most of our creatures. It hits Aang at the top, Aang Swift Savior, Sandstorm Salvager, Toby, the Great Divide Guide, You know, or if we have to in a pinch, we could name like Elf or Badger, or I guess Merfolk. But yeah, that's the deck. Let's go ahead and jump in. Currently, I think we are at Diamond 2, so we're getting close. And this deck has just been doing really well on ladder. It's been a lot of fun to kind of refine, and just went through a lot of different iterations today after going 7-1 with the deck in a best of 1 standard event. But I'm curious, you know, how you guys have tried various different cards for the Airbend deck. I know I had like a Naya version, a Azorius version, a mono white version. I think, you know, I'm planning to maybe make a standard event for like a Abzan version. There was one that I did with that also went 7-2, so that was fun. Opening hand looks good. We've got some acceleration. So we'll lead out here with a Hushwood Verge and play a Llanowar Elves. Also, guys, just to let you know, I'm using headphones today to try to sort of clean up the sound a little bit. I got a comment that I think I'd had it just set up so like my mic was picking up ambient sound. So if the sound is better or worse, please let me know and put it in the comments. I really want to know and make sure you guys are having a good experience. So mono white aggro / enchantments. Let's go ahead and I think we want to Airbender Ascension plus Llanowar Elves. You can probably bounce their Scavenger and just sort of slow them down a little bit. And then set up for a turn 3 Aang at the Crossroads. And if we use this to hit something like Earth King, you know, or another like 2 pieces of virtual cardboard, we could even flip the Ascension and just completely go. Oh, and there's a Badgermole Cub, so I guess we can do that too. Alright, so now we can Badgermole Cub. Let's make sure that we tap this right. We want to have access to our white and blue, so I guess I will tap an Elf, and then we'll put the yeah, I think it should still work. Yeah, now we can still play for the Aang at the Crossroads. And there's an Ouroboroid, which is a lot of fun. We could also do Salvager if we wanted to, but I think Ouroboroid is nice. And now we can sort of do it again. And just completely go off. And our opponent has had enough, understandably. That was pretty silly. So this is, I think, yeah, you know, a lot of the acceleration really helps just kind of get these very silly draws. And upping the the Aang at the Crossroads count all the way up to 4, I think, is really nice as well. Also, Great Divide Guide was sort of a nice find because there are a number of allies in the deck, so they can then also produce mana. All right, opening hand looks good. We've got 3 land. We have a Badgermole Cub to accelerate us to like a turn 3 Earth King potentially, and then a couple Tidebinders to hopefully give us some options. So this could be like Dimir or possibly Esper. Okay, I guess it's Reanimator. Now with Kavero, I think there is no trigger unless it's like it becomes the creature that has a triggered ability. Like, so if it like has like an Arden or something, you can Tidebinder the Arden once it chooses a creature. I think that's how it works with Cavern. There's no, like, I think, separate trigger. Okay, now we can Badgermole Cub. Hopefully there's no, like, turn 3 removal here. So now they're just filling up the yard. So they probably, I mean, Overlord, as the options go, isn't too bad, but I'm kind of curious, yeah, because if we Tishana's Tidebinder, I think we can Tidebind the effect when it enters, but then it'll still be there, and it'll still, I guess it'll just be like a vanilla 4/4, so maybe we just do that. Yeah, because they might go for it next turn, they might not. Let's wait and see. They're probably assuming some kind of nonsense here. So it's uncounterable, but I think we can mess with the trigger ability. So once it becomes the thing, I think it... So now we can counter the trigger, I believe. I think we want to do this one here. And now it's just a vanilla 4/4. Alright, we got another Badgermole, which is great. So then we can have potentially 6 mana, which is enough to do like a Salvager and then like hold up another Tidebinder. Let's do that. We do kind of need a little bit more. I guess we can just Detect Intrusion and just counter that. I think we want to save our Tidebinder for the next one. It's a pity I can't tap my Salvager then like in Webbing, but... Alright, so I guess they have it back, unfortunately. They had 2 pieces of action. Okay, now we can hold up Tidebinder. I think I want to play Breeding Pool here, just so we have full access to Salvager. And then we could trade with Cavern, or at least offer the trade, and see what happens. And might as well just buff them up. trample damage here. Okay, now we can Tidebinder it again. And then just kill it. Oh my god, he has a... I didn't see the bringer. Oh no! Okay, that was my mistake. I should have kept the Tidebinder up there. When he had the other Overlord, I didn't see the bringer go to the yard, so that was very avoidable. Pretty much just threw that. So that was, yeah, it's a huge mistake. Well, you live and learn. Oh my god. I think we're pretty much at this point now. Yeah, so basically there we just wanted to save the Tidebinder. Didn't plan on a second Aggro. Yeah, sometimes I just need to kind of slow down a little bit, just so I don't make the mistakes. Alright, opening a hand is interesting. We've got a lot of Ascensions. I think this is fine. We try it out. Yeah, but you're definitely seeing unedited footage. I never edit any of my stuff, so you see the wins and the losses, no matter how embarrassing they are. We'll just start setting up. Could be Jeskai artifacts. I think it is. It's a pretty kind of... his hand doesn't do a lot right now. Let's just get some more access to mana here. Because I think just using Aang to counter something isn't super productive, because they could just replay it for 2 mana. Try to build up a little bit of a board first. Okay, Stargate is fine. Tidebinder would be nice at some point. Could do another Airbender Ascension, but I think now we just want to play one of our 2 creatures. So maybe we Tidebind something. Could either make them pay more. I suppose we can do this later. We can Tidebind it later when they try to activate it. Let's just make them pay a little bit. And we could just Airbender Ascension our Aang. But I think yeah, I guess that's okay. We can just keep making them spend money. Or spend mana, as it were. Could also just get in for 2. But this will kind of keep the Ascensions rolling. So I guess we could Aang, or we could try to wait to see if they do anything with it. Now we can just bounce it back to their hand again with Aang. Oh, never mind. I had to do it as a spell, so because this doesn't bounce non-creatures otherwise. We could bounce Aang again. Just kind of keep him up in the air. Yeah, both those times I should have attacked first, but so they could be a couple points lower. That was a mistake. I should attack and then airbend it. Now we can Tidebind it. The one potential problem here is if they have the D5 damage artifact, they can just get our Tidebinder since it comes in tapped thanks to Authority. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but it is possible. And they've got the Saw Blades. Oh man, he's got it all. Okay, there's a good one. So now we can start going with Salvager. Problem here is they can still use Repurposing Bay to like go and get another Star Cage, but we can bounce Salvager back to our hand, or they could, I suppose, go and get like just like this, you know, the other one to get rid of the Salvager. I think we'll just leave Aang in the hand. This way, if they want to try to get rid of Salvager, we can just protect it with Aang. And they're just going straight to Synthesizer, which makes sense. I think we'll bounce that. Did have the extra. All right, but now we can flip Aang. So that's nice. Also kind of nice because we can bounce it out and then get rid of the construct. So it's a very weird game. It's not very normal to have 3 Airbender Ascensions in play. But, even though I've been playing this deck all day on ladder, I'm still kind of getting used to it and still definitely making some mistakes. So it is a lot of fun though. Okay, there's an Ouroboroid. Can use that. We don't want to bounce our Ouroboroid, we want to kind of keep it going. We can at least bounce and get rid of one of the other tokens. Yeah, once they have Repurposing Bay, it's pretty rough. And Battlefront is pretty good. Especially once they have 2 of the synthesizers going. That's probably going to do it, because now we can use the Repurposing Bay to get rid of this Pinnacle Star Cage and then go and get the Fire Crystal, and that should do it. Which I'm assuming that's what they're going to do. There it is. Yeah, Jeskai Artifacts remains to be a very difficult match. It is like one of the best answers to it, unfortunately, kind of stops our entire deck, the Doorkeeper Thrall. So I could put in, I suppose I could put in like Reclamation Sage or possibly like Scrap Shooter, which would both be options to sort of deal with artifacts. So you have options. All right, opening hand looks good. We've got fast mana, which is nice. Hopefully like a turn 3 Ouroboroid. Okay, let's pick it up against Breakout Ouroboroid. Do they have a Badgermole? Okay. Do they have Ouroboroid is the next question. Weaver and Breakout. So we could either go for Ouroboroid ourselves. We could also go for like Earth King. I think we just want to get Ouroboroid going. Let's see what this is going to do. Just add some mana. So if they have, they could potentially have like Crater Hoof here, which would be rough. But I guess there's no Badgermole yet. Although if they break out into Badgermole, could be a problem. Alright, it is Ouroboroid versus Ouroboroid. We have 5 mana, so we could go for Aang. Could also do like Earth King plus Llanowar Elves, which would be 3 creatures guaranteed. Creatures in the air are pretty nice though, so yeah, I think let's go for Aang. Although if we go for Aang, we won't be able to attack with Great Divide Guide. But I think it could just be, if we get another Ouroboroid, it's really nice. Yeah, okay, alright, so that's pretty silly. Now we can do the other one first. So make sure to change the order. And we get a really big, silly Ouroboroid. They can't kill it, so we could push. Question is, can they kill us if we have 2 blockers? I don't think so. So I think this is a safe attack. I guess if they have like a second Ouroboroid themselves, this could be pretty bad. So maybe, I guess we'll have to see. But now they need to get some Aang. Got 4 mana. Just not gonna do it. The flight is pretty nice. Yeah, hitting that second Ouroboroid is sweet. That's part of the reason they're in there. And I'm kind of testing out like the Tidebinders right now and the whatever the counter spell for the triggered ability thing is. And I think, yeah, I misplayed the second game. That was pretty bad. But if I hadn't, I think we could have won that game. Opening hand looks nice. We've got Badgermole on 2. Against Boros. This is a pretty tough matchup because we take a lot of damage and we don't have any life gain, which is like not a great combo. Alright, so now let's go for Salvager. Let's do Cavern of Souls, I think, on... They don't have any counter spells, so we'll just do it for plant, just to make it easy to cast the Ouroboroid if we don't want to take pain. Because we have all the other colors covered. I think, right? Yeah. I don't think we block here. It might be correct to block just because they have a lot of burn, so maybe we're supposed to. Actually, yeah, I think I'm just going to save ourselves a couple damage. Burned out is definitely how we lose. Can't block that one. Okay, we are going to take some pain here, but I think we do it just to be able to block with Aang. So we're going to drop to 6. If they have like Boros plus Burst Lightning, we probably just die. But I think we can't afford to take a hit from Slick Shot. Yeah, this is another reason why this is such a rough matchup. We take a lot of pain for our land. Let's get a Badgermole going. And then we gotta start, let's see, so they can play this, maybe another haste creature. We'll have 2 blockers. I guess if they play like Emberheart Challenger and this, we want to block all 3. I don't think it functionally matters if this attacks right now. Like if this survives, yeah, maybe we're supposed to attack here. Because like all the pump they could theoretically just do on their Slick Shot. Now it just comes down to if they have like Boros Charm. Ooh, Airbender Ascension, okay. And then Detect Intrusion might come up. Wait, hang on. We don't have access to blue mana. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, never mind. However, Airbender Ascension will cause the Verge to go. Either way, let's play our Llanowar Elves. We could also Airbender Ascension the Aang and then bring it back. But if we're pumping +4... Let's see if we Airbend something. So if we full send, they can block 3 and then not die. So I think we just hold this turn. Although the problem here is that if they have like lightning strike, we lose. But we do have the breeding pool with the Detect Intrusion, so we can counter at least one of them. I guess we could Airbender Ascension here. Actually, we want to keep our mana up. I think we just want to just send with some ground troops here. Alright, so we could attack with, let's see, since we have Badgermole, this will tap for 2, so that can work for Detect Intrusion. I think we can attack with those 3, and then keep everything else back. There's the Boros charm. Counter that. And then we can also bring something back if we want. No, let's just counter it. They could still kill us if they draw another Boros charm. Or if they have like a fling or some other nonsense. Or like a Calisel sword. But we might have them. Definitely blocking. Okay, there's the shock. It's time to go with it. Lightning strike. Woo! Close one. Alright. 3 and 2. So yeah, I misplayed and kind of threw one of those games. So I think, you know, overall I'm pretty happy with where the deck is at. A lot of the games I've played on my tablet, so you're not going to see all the win rate statistics showing all of them. But let's take a look at what we do have. Alright, there's been a couple versions, 3 versions of the deck. Overall, 77% win rate, 83% on the play, and 71% on the draw. 10 wins and 3 losses. So it is going very well, I will say. I would definitely recommend this version of the deck to climb to Mythic. We're a couple wins away. We're, I think, in halfway through Diamond 2, so I think it's very, very doable. And if you like this deck and if you want to see more, I would recommend checking out this next video here, which is the Best of 1 standard event. All right, thanks guys for watching. Really appreciate you. And again, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing and becoming a member. See you in the next one.